And I've seen all I need to see. Your early to mid game approach needs to change. What is really cool about this is I understand that you're low MMR, but this is a perfect delve into an exception to the Deadlane concept. It's not an exception in terms of the rules of the Deadlane concept being different. It's an exception because now I get to talk about the benefits of playing top and the benefits of playing bottom. And your hero capitalizes on the benefits of playing bottom, not top. More so, you don't capitalize on the benefits of playing top, so you don't have pressure that you're creating on the map. The idea of the dead lane is that you are changing the dynamic of the pressure on the map. Whether you are effectively relieving pressure bottom or you are effectively creating pressure top. If you play top on a hero that doesn't create pressure, it does the same thing as if you play bottom on a hero that does create pressure. You are creating or relieving less pressure while also getting the same amount of creeps. And it will be shown, especially on survivable split pushers, in the net worth of your teammates. That is where it will be shown. Because you should get about the same amount of net worth if you farm top as you would if you do bottom. But the map control, the basic dynamic of how much the lanes are pushed will be in favor of the opponent team if you are not playing the map correctly. You will see it in your teammates' net worth. And that is all.
Banana slam jam.
Hey everybody, welcome back. We got ourselves another BSJ replay analysis. This is an anti-mage 2400 MMR. He said he's gained 400 MMR since his last replay. In parentheses, yay. I watched a lot of other replay analysis that you did and try to apply a lot of the concepts in my game as well. Even while playing, I talk to myself a lot. And honestly, I still think my laning phase isn't as great. Would love for you to comment on my laning phase as well. I'm sure I will be flamed for this because I went battle free even before getting any component for treads, but what goes through my mind is that Quap is rolling and I have to get out of my lane ASAP. And looking back, I may have lost a few last hits because of that decision, but I thought it enabled me later in the game. Do you think it's better to go treads first in this game? I think this is more decision making, but what the best options if my team weren't doing well, I try to shove wave as much as possible, but even in 4v4s for my team, they always lose and Spec will always be there to defend the lane I shove. Characteristically, I'm able to ignore team fights most of the time, but when I felt I have something I can fight, Manta in this case, I really wanted to join the fight, but all the fights were unfavorable. I don't think I should join at all. And the enemy team kept becoming stronger and stronger, and then we eventually lost. Would love to see how you would approach this game and any small things I can do to better improve my game overall. Okay, cool. Talk about it. I see you fumbling with your starting items a lot. I think you're probably against Mag Quap, or Mag Rubik or Quap Rubik, both of which lanes are very poke heavy. So I probably would have gone either Ring of Regen or just Tangos. I wouldn't really go for a Salve here in this lane. I also wouldn't walk out to the Rune when I have a support like Crystal Maiden. Anti-Mage is a very fascinating hero. Either you can hit them and they can't hit back because they're scared of all the mana they're going to lose, or not. And so his trades are either heavily favorable or very unfavorable. That's kind of how Anti-Mage works. So you need to try to learn for yourself, more so about trading favorably, because like walking to them at the Rune, if they can just do what they did to you, notice how you took a shit ton of damage and they took none. Anti-Mage either does a shit ton of damage or takes a shit ton. Very rarely is it anywhere in between. CM didn't nuke the range for you. Report him. Nice. So yeah, this Slipper of Agility isn't really paying off for you all that much. Notice that. Items like that are beneficial when you are right-clicking them a lot. You didn't get the range creep experience. This was bad. Should at least be in range for that. This is not effectively health sustain. This is only mana sustain. You have a Crystal Maiden. When I say it's not health sustain, if you compare it to items of similar cost, it is not effective health sustain. So since you have a Crystal Maiden, you don't need the mana sustain, thus you don't need a stick. You are in a lane where the reason why you are not CSing is because you are scared of how much damage you will take. Thus your items should purely be regen. I think I would see like Ritsu or Eternal Envy just go double ring of regen in this lane. They would have started the game like Tango quelling double ring of regen. I think that's what they would have done. So it's important as a carry to understand why you're not able to lane. Is it because you can't trade with them? Or is it because you're just taking a lot of damage? Is it because you're scared of dying, so you need some move speed? What is the reason you are not farming? And this lane is very clearly, I'm sure you recognized yourself, that is just how much harass you're taking. So items like these are pointless. This is pointless. A Wraithband's simple. How often are they right-clicking you, and how often are you right-clicking them? I've seen very few exchanges. I've seen some, but very few. What does a Wraithband give you that a Glove of Haste does not give you, right? And a Glove of Haste builds into an item you'll have in your inventory at 30 minutes into the game. Wraithband gives you armor, and it gives you a bit of damage. But if you're just going for like farming speed and attack speed, then Glove of Haste is just as good. Obviously, CSing under tower could be better, but I'm not really going to worry about that. So when you have this many creeps, and the guy's alone, he's not allowed to be here. Like, this is a scenario that you have to try to start recognizing. He's not allowed to be here. You see this? And I hope you can look for it. You have more creeps than they do. They have 3 heroes top, 1 hero mid. Most notably, it's Quap isn't here. It's not like what their other heroes are doing. It's that Quap isn't here. This guy should get fucking murdered. You don't even blink on him or anything. You just have full mana and you don't use anything to harass this fuck. Use resources, damn it! Okay. Now that Quap's left your lane, I would argue that you're full health and you don't need regen. So I think this should be the broadswords and some tangos. It'll just accelerate your farm. Not only is it important to understand what's going wrong in your lane, but it's important to understand who's doing it. So if Quap was the problem and she's gone, that problem no longer exists. So you addressed a problem that was caused by Queen of Pain, and then you built the item to address it after Queen of Pain was already gone. I feel like the most common mistake I see in low MMR Battle Fury carries is that they just build the Ring of Regen and shit unnecessarily. Does this Ring of Regen make you feel good to lane? If not, and you think you should be jungling, then you just want to be farming as fast as humanly possible. Broadsword, boom. Notice how you're trading with this guy, and even though you have the sustain, you're not even winning the trade. So if you're trying to go for the sustain battle by building this item, and notice how you're not winning the sustain item, that means it was a bad item. Or the sustain battle. It means there's a bad item. Notice how the only situation that favored you here was to kill him. So in that case, you should be itemizing damage and farm efficiency, rather than sustain. I would argue after the Queen of Pain left, you should have treads. I think that Glove of Haste would have then been built into treads, and then I would have built a broadsword. Maybe flew myself an extra tango here and there so I could sustain jungle creeps. The tangos would literally be for jungle creeps. Okay, so you do go the damage items next at least. If Quap had camped your lane the entire time, I wouldn't have gone Treads. Okay, so Spectre used Haunt, Quap used ulti, she's mid, Spectre's top, why aren't she bottom? If you leave your safe lane, you have to make an educated guess about why you left. Educated guess. In this case, I have to believe it's because Quap was bottom and Spectre might have Haunt. Those are the two things I can come up with. And I'm not expecting you to know the exact answer in all of your games, but you have to make an educated guess. You should be back bottom right now. Anytime you don't make the proper decision, you'll almost always end up there anyways, and you've lost map control since you now TP'd instead of walking. The reason why I'm like, he's going to eventually go back bottom, right? And this is the moment where you should have gone back bottom, because you had all the information required to go back bottom. But that requires you to be thinking about why you left bottom in the first place. That has to be understood. You have to understand, as any hero that wants to farm, that doesn't create pressure, meaning anti-mage does not push towers, you would rather be in your own safe lane. That's usually the most use you could ever be on heroes that don't pressure, okay? Because that's the reason to go top, right? We've talked about that. So the most aggressive farm you could be taking in order to like maintain map control is bottom, because you don't create pressure. And notice how you now force yourself to TP back. It feels awkward. You want to TP back because the reasons why you weren't there are not applicable. So I think this is all fine that you came back here, but you should have walked. TPs often get used inefficiently because the original decision that should have got us there was not recognized. So I rewound right there to show you the original information that you had. Because right now you'd like to be bottom and then TP top at this very moment right now. I would have liked you to TP top, but you can't. Because the reason that you're bottom, or not bottom, was temporary. And in situations where the reason you're not bottom is temporary, like cooldowns, is where you don't ever want to TP there, because then you'll be forced to leave again. These are relatively advanced concepts, but I think they're still good fundamentals for you to be learning as a low and more player. So you have Battle Fury. Whenever I have a Battle Fury, this is the perfect opportunity. I just told you, when you're a hero that doesn't create pressure, your default is to be bottom, sir. That is your default. It is the opponent's own mistake to not go bottom. I need you to understand that. The reason why I often tell people to leave their safe lane is because the opponent will be good enough to go to that lane and take your tower, or go to that lane and pressure you. That's what they'll do. They'll force you out of that lane. That's where you want to be if you don't create pressure. Remember the Deadlane concept? Top lane creates pressure, bottom lane relieves it. If you are not creating pressure, bottom lane is actually where you'd rather be. Think about it. So, as opposed to Jug, who would usually rather be top because he does create pressure, Anti-Mage would rather be bottom. The opponent has given you so many reasons to be allowed to go back bottom, and you keep leaving. Why? Why are we joining our team at the Ancients here? Bottom lane, one more creep wave could have been farmed. This entire jungle could have been farmed. Now we're working our way back to the bottom lane, a place that we need to be forced out of. Meaning, like, you don't know where any of them were prior to this? And then you TP top again! Holy shit! Holy shit balls! Okay, man. So it's interesting. I understand you've been watching a lot of my videos, so I don't get to talk about this very often. On every hero, they're different. Bottom lane, relieve pressure. Top lane, create pressure. Bottom lane, relieve. Top, create. Your hero does not create. Play bottom by default. Make them force you away from bottom. Your default is off. Your default gauge of what you're supposed to be doing normally is wrong, and that is causing all of your decisions to be incorrect. So I don't want you to overthink it. I want you to realize on these efficiency Battle Fury builders, you would rather be bottom. Most notably, what I mean by the ability to create pressure is first and foremost how quickly your hero kills buildings. So like before Battle Fury, you really don't clear waves or kill buildings very fast. And then after Battle Fury, your hero can't walk into the opponents and clear the tower. The opponents have to be somewhere else for you to kill the tower. So the cool thing about that is you would default to bottom because ideally you would force them to go bottom such that if you were a hero, if you were ever going to try to take top, it's because you forced them away in the first place. That is how split pushers think. You can't take the objective directly. If I'm a jug, I want to play top because I'm quite possibly able to take the tower directly, and I'm also going to clear the wave quickly with spin such that early on in the game, if nobody is there, I will take the tower very fast. Anti-mage is not the case, right? So I'm drawing the parallels between these heroes, the characteristics they have that make them want to play here. I'm not trying to give you how to play anti-mage. I'm trying to give you, think about the map in this way, and then apply that to any hero you are playing. That is the cool part about these general concepts. There are positives and negatives to any part of the map. And if your hero capitalizes on certain positives or gets punished by certain negatives, then that is obviously not where you're supposed to play. Okay, so we're going to go top now. I feel like you're never getting that tier 1 unless somebody on their team is forced to go bottom. That is what I feel like. And I want you to think that that tower is still your objective, because that's always how it is. But on split pushers, you can never take it directly. You have to make them go somewhere else. So you either walk at the tower directly on a hero that can, or you force them to go somewhere else and take the tower. This is something I don't get to talk about very often, but once I bring it to your attention, I feel like it is very obvious whether or not your hero can directly walk down the building or not. That's the only question to ask yourself. Can my hero walk at the tower and take it, no matter what, if they can test? Some heroes, that's game to game. Like, some games they can, some games they can't. Terrorblade's a great example. Some games, if the opponent's high single target physical damage, Terrorblade can just barrel down lanes. Other games, if you walk up to that tower, they have like a Tinker or a Zeus or a Pugna or some shit, and you just die. In those games as Terrorblade, you often play your own side of the map. Because you force them to go there to push you out, and then you go to the part that they pushed you out to, which is their side of the map. But on Terrorblade, if I'm against a bunch of single target physical damage, I'm going to play top and just kill their towers while farming, because I can create pressure. Terrorblade's a perfect hero to know that this is a situational thing on some heroes. Anti-mage is pretty much never a pressure creating hero. Pretty much never. I'd say like 99%. So you're basically playing anti-mage like he's Jug, is what I'm trying to tell you. So it's good that you did eventually come bottom. This is what should happen. Beautiful. Then I personally would have farmed my way back through the jungle, honestly. I would have done like this. And the only reason you don't do that is if you feel dangerous not to do it. Meaning, like, that's the efficient way to get back to your base, is to walk and farm your way there. The inefficient way is to TP. So at that point, your gauge is to gauge, do I think I could die on my way back to base if I'm farming there? I think this is a fight I would very rarely walk to like that. I feel like most of the time I'd be TPing. There was a big mid wave for you to be pressuring right now. And I feel like before the fight, it could have at least been pushed. Like right here. Right here. There's a fight going on bottom. I would have pushed this mid wave. Again, right here. Why? Because the time that you join the fight, if you push that next wave, is going to line up with this. These two heroes respawning. And then that gives you the choice of whether or not you want to participate in the fight. Meaning, if they're going to continue fighting like this, like they are here, you can either choose to take this tower for free while the fight goes on, or you can choose to go to the fight. Your decision to back off and farm this camp tells me you are 100% fighting. And that is why I don't ideally like to do this, because you are being forced to fight. And sometimes that fight might not work out. I'm not telling you not to have shown up to this fight. I'm telling you to give yourself the choice. Oh. I'm gonna rerun. I remembered I wanted to tell you something. 3 enemy heroes are dead. Okay. BSJ, why would you highlight pushing mid? Because the only way you're fucking getting top tower is by pressuring other lanes, forcing them to go there, and then taking the tower. Guess what lane that was this time, my good sir? Mid lane. Crazy. You keep walking tower without you keep walking top without previously forcing them elsewhere. That answers all of the questions that you had in your replay analysis comment section. That answers every single one. I felt like I wanted to take these towers, and Spectre kept showing up. Why do you think your team's getting team fought while the Spectre's sitting top? Because you're a split pusher and she can fight you directly, sir. I know you're trying to learn, so understand that I'm just trying to help. It's the same shit over and over again. I hope you see that. This is a quick mindset shift and all these problems are fixed. We finally got the tower. It took way longer than it should have, but that's fine. How does Spectre directly man-fight Anti-Mage? She's up by 20 or 13,000 gold. It's not the fact that Spectre can directly man-fight you. It's the fact that with a +1, Spectre kills you and not the other way around. That's the problem. Spectre's underneath her tier 1. Her team can respond. They can punish you. You can't man-fight the Spectre here simply because if you fight her, they can punish you and you can't really punish her. That's the emphasis that people need to understand. You may say in a vacuum, Anti-Mage can pressure Spectre, but it's the threat that Spectre has of a +1 that makes him not able to fight her. And I actually agree that he is not able to fight her here. And she also has Manta Diffusal, which is very scary for Anti-Mage. The Spectre built good items. And I've seen all I need to see. Your early to mid-game approach needs to change. What is really cool about this is I understand that you're low MMR, but this is a perfect delve into an exception to the Deadlane concept. It's not an exception in terms of the rules of the Deadlane concept being different. It's an exception because now I get to talk about the benefits of playing top and the benefits of playing bottom. And your hero capitalizes on the benefits of playing bottom, not top. More so, you don't capitalize on the benefits of playing top, so you don't have pressure that you're creating on the map. The idea of the Deadlane is that you are changing the dynamic of the pressure on the map. Whether you are effectively relieving pressure bottom or you are effectively creating pressure top. If you play top on a hero that doesn't create pressure, it does the same thing as if you play bottom on a hero that does create pressure. You are creating or relieving less pressure while also getting the same amount of creeps. And it will be shown, especially on survivable split pushers, in the net worth of your teammates. That is where it will be shown. Because you should get about the same amount of net worth if you farm top as you would if you do bottom. But the map control, the basic like dynamic of how much the lanes are pushed will be in favor of the opponent team if you are not playing the map correctly. You will see it in your teammates' net worth. And that is all. Hope you enjoyed your replay analysis. Thanks for signing up.